Domestic violence cases where a police officer becomes the accused takes the difficult situation of intimate partner abuse and further complicates it. New at 10, KAKE's Madeline Anderson looked into the unique problems associated with police families and domestic violence. When an officer is involved in a domestic situation, it can be very tough.
It can be, Susan. When an officer is involved in a domestic violence situation, the dynamic for the abuser, for the victim, and for the investigative response is often different than it is for the general population. After a Wichita police officer and a Wichita police sergeant were accused this week in separate incidents of domestic violence, victims' advocates say the news exposes what happens when the people enforcing the law are the ones who break it.
A law enforcement domestic violence abuser is no different than a regular abuser, other than he can use his training as a law enforcement officer.
Joyce Mahoney with Harbor House Shelter says spouses or family members of abusers in law enforcement are especially vulnerable because officers have privileges that the general population doesn't have.
First of all, he has a gun, he has a badge, he could have the backup of other law enforcement friends or co-workers.
We hold our employees to a higher standard.
At a news conference today, Wichita's interim police chief reiterated his department does not give officers accused or charged with crimes any special treatment.
We do police our own, and we handle any situation that comes to our attention.
In addition, Harbor House staff want victims living with abusers in law enforcement to know there are ways to stay safe.
We respect the confidentiality of every woman here, and we will not give out information even to the police if they contact us.
And I also spoke with a clinical social worker today who has treated several police officers involved in domestic violence situations. She says their violence often stems from underlying mental health issues like PTSD after experiencing a traumatic situation on the force.
So does the police department have in-house counselors for these officers?
Well, the city of Wichita actually has a private company that provides counseling for all city employees, but no, there really isn't someone who specifically works with the police department on these kinds of issues.
All right, thank you very much, Madeline.